You're listening to Winnipeg's Classic 107. My name is Simon Rusnak. The endangered gig lives on this weekend. That's the email we at Classic 107 got from Madeline Hildebrand back in late September ahead of Six Pianos, a performance as part of Nuit Blanche Winnipeg. But then, in keeping with the theme that is the year 2020, the elusive gig evaded us at the last minute. This morning, I've reconnected with Madeline Hildebrand to hear about what happened next. Hey, Maddie.
Hey.
Well, I want to go back a few weeks because we were so ready to chat about a live performance
Right.
for Nuit Blanche, September 26th, and then things shifted. What happened next?
Right. Okay. So when we last chatted, we were all under the impression that the gig was going to happen, the gig was going to live on. But then, as you say, in true COVID style, everything changed at the last minute, which is great because we should all be trying to stay safe, and we had to get our creative juices flowing pretty quickly to figure out how we were going to execute this this gig and provide something for the audience that was anticipating the music and the performance. And I think that we did a pretty great job in the end. So yeah, it happened.
I really think you did. It's phenomenal, especially with how quickly this came together. But before we get to that, I want to go
Mhm.
back even further, just to fill people in a little bit. This
Mhm.
this a project that was a submission and ultimately accepted as part of the Illuminate the Night projects, Nuit
Mhm.
Blanche Winnipeg, looking for performances, exhibits, or installations showcasing something that the city has likely not seen before. I can say I don't think I've ever seen six pianists performing together, hardly a normal ensemble. Tell us a little bit more about this project, where you got the idea, and the other five pianists involved.
Sure. So, how did this idea come about? Well, in trying to come up with an idea that incorporates music into the mix of Nuit Blanche, I've always been interested in piano ensemble playing. And, playing the piano can be sort of a solitary endeavor, especially as a soloist. There are long hours spent in a practice room or in your studio working up complicated scores. Of course, chamber music is such a fulfilling endeavor as well, but typically chamber music includes instruments that are not multiple pianos, of course. Um, and there's such a great community of pianists here in Manitoba who I consider all my friends, and I just wanted to play with those friends. So I pitched this idea to some incredible friends: Everett Hopfner, Daryl Friesen, Naomi Wu, Lisa Rumpel, and Teresa Thorderson, and they all enthusiastically, I think that within hours of reaching out to every one of them, they all said yes. So I think that this community was also feeling like, we just want to play together. We just want to see each other, and they were up for this crazy idea of six piano repertoire outside. COVID safe, of course, outdoors, and we flew with it.
An all-star cast you've assembled, and nothing better than making music with friends. So let's talk a little bit about the program itself, beginning with the music of Steve Reich, one of the founders of minimalism, along with another fellow, Philip Glass, whose music you've performed alongside the man himself. Always got to get that in there because it is just the coolest. Anyway, minimalism, a bit of a divisive genre in the realm of music. Some people love it, some people not so much. Either way, I bet a lot of people haven't performed minimalism. What's it like?
Well, okay, so the music is very repetitive. And the repetitive nature of the music, some might think, well, that must be easy. You're just playing the same two bars over and over. That is, in fact, really difficult, not only physically, but also mentally. So this piece is a real feat of concentration, this piece called Six Pianos by Steve Reich. And it also uses something called phasing. So what that means is pianist A, let's say, will have introduced material that pianist B will then begin, but one beat later. So even though the material could be played in unison, when you shift where the second pianist begins, you get an entirely harmonically different experience. That takes an incredible amount of concentration to stay together and to keep the rhythm going. Also, with this piece, it's written in a way where Steve Reich invites the pianists to repeat said material 4 or 5 or 6 times or 10 times. So there needs to be also communication happening at a pretty high level, so that when the score shifts and phases, we all know where we are in the music.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, you make it sound so easy. I mean, yeah, the big thing for me is just the level of concentration and the discipline that you bring to these performances. Like, I mean, I keep thinking of oftentimes when I'm thinking of minimalist music, I think of, we often use the word meditative or trance-like, which might be the case for the listener, but it is not at all the case for the player, as you just say, because really just so much of yourself going into keeping it together and keeping it going.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about the other work on the program as well, the music of Kate Moore. I wasn't familiar with her music before watching the performance online. Tell me a little bit more about her.
This is an incredible piece called Sensitive Spot. And I'm just going to actually read what Kate Moore has written in the program note of the music. So she says, Sensitive Spot is about tempo, in particular, the slight variations and gradations of one person's personal perception of metric timing. The 6 pianists begin overlaying the same unison material autonomously, pinpointing a musical phenomenon that would normally be associated with error, the inability of any human to have an exact sense of metronomic timing. And in this case, it's used to create something that aspires towards beauty, resulting in an intricate tapestry of interwoven rhythmic patterns. So basically, to now explain what the score looks like, every pianist is playing from the same score, with an instruction on how many times to repeat the pulsating chord within each section. But because we all have a different sense of timing and the music is so fast that there's no way we can actually hear exactly where everybody's pulse is, where we change chords is happening at a different time for everybody. So it's this piece that chordally, harmonically is morphing in front of your eyes, and you can't really tell where each pianist is changing their chord, and that's the beauty of it. It just kind of like blossoms and evolves, and it's a really beautiful piece. We really enjoyed playing it. But because I don't know if any of your listeners, or if you know what the accompaniment patterns in Schubert's Erlkönig is like, just repeating chords. It's very similar to that. So this, speaking of physically taxing music, this was, I think it's safe to say, we all felt like we were hit by a bus at the end of the 11 minutes of this piece.
Yeah, I'm sure just so fulfilled at the end of it. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I also really enjoyed the production. I mean, there's these great shots as the tension builds, as the music kind of goes through these waves. There's this one shot of Naomi Wu at the piano counting aloud 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then there are these tight shots of for instance, the repeated notes, and you all kind of use a different technique. Like there's the one finger technique, and then there's the alternating fingers and the alternating hands, and I'm doing all of these in front of me that you can't see. But let's talk a little bit more about this production and how it came together so quickly. Who was involved, and tell us about, for people who haven't seen it, where you guys recorded and what it looks like.
Okay. All right. So the star of this whole performance is Andy Rudolph, who is a I've been calling him a light artist. I think he kind of guffaws at that, but he created a light installation for us. So what he did was he using the MIDI technology from the keyboards, he hooked up a light that would change colors based on the tones that each keyboard was playing. It would also react and pulsate with the tones of each keyboard, and it even reacted dynamically to the louds and softs of each keyboard. So this was genius on his part, and also really beautiful with a piece like Kate Moore's Sensitive Spot, because as we all crescendo into this giant climax, the light became much, much more intense. And as we come back down, the light becomes less intense. And then with Steve Reich's 6 pianos, because it's so repetitive, with each pattern, there was a certain color combination, and you could tell who was phasing where based on the colors of the light changing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just so in awe of Andy that not only does he know how to create something like this, but he also thought really artistically about what the light installation, how it should react to the music based on the program content and what the composers wanted to say with the music. I just thought it was genius. So there was Andy Rudolph, and then the other people on the team that were added at the very last minute, and I am so grateful towards, are Joe Dudich, who agreed in the 11th hour to record, sound, produce the video, and then Julie Epp, who was our videographer. These incredible humans agreed the night before to join us. And the reason why, of course, I had to inquire the night before was because Nuit Blanche was supposed to happen on Saturday, September 26th, and on the Thursday before, on the 24th, we were told that all of our public installations were going to have to be reimagined. So I just think this amazing team came together so quickly, and I'm forever grateful. And then, of course, there were my amazing parents, Ed and Millie Hildebrand, who lent us their backyard.
Well, hats off to all of you, because the result is absolutely stunning. I mean, just the way the visuals and the music come together, and like you say, Andy's work with this light installation, how it washes over all of you, it's absolutely stunning. It's the word that really does come to mind. And I've seen it in person, but what's really cool about this is it also translates to online. So, dim the lights, put it on the computer screen, and just fall into this music and this production. Maddie, thanks for taking the time today.
Thanks. I also want to say that this, because there were so many people involved in this project, we went to a few other organizations for support. So not only do we have to thank Nuit Blanche for of course supporting this project, but also Virtuosi Concerts and the Women's Musical Club. Also shout out to Long McQuaid for use of their equipment, and Video Pool for some of their equipment. So thank you to everybody that supported it.
Yeah, so many people going into this one. And it's up for a few more days as part of Culture Days through October 25th. And of course, we've got the link up on the website, classic107.com.